I remember I was 24. My career was just starting to blow up. I was pulling in around £30,000 a week. Dad always told me that making money was going to be the thing that made me successful. Little did I know that I'd be left lost and unfulfilled. In fact, taking me to what some people would call depression. Then I found happiness. But what I didn't realize, that dramatic change in me was going to be the thing that shocked my mum so much that she thought I was high on drugs, and it became a real chaotic story. I don't know if you've ever had this moment before where some change happens in you. Maybe you become more positive or something extreme changes and you become a better you. But for some reason, the people around you just don't seem to get what that change is. They don't understand it and they actually get worried. Today is Throwback Thursday, so it's story time. But before we get into it, I want to show you around Bratislava, Slovakia. Let's do this. So beautiful here.
So, ready for story time?
Let's do this. So I remember Dad actually pulled by the highway and then he said to me, he said, "Eric, I need to speak to you." And I said, "What's up, Dad? Is everything okay?" And then he said to me, he said, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "What do you mean, Dad?" And he said, "What is wrong with you? What have you been doing recently?" And I said, "Nothing. Why are you asking that?" He said, "Tell me right now, what have you been doing?" I said, "Nothing, Dad. What's up? You know, why so serious?" He says, "Why not so serious?" He said, "You know, your mum came to me last night and she was crying." I said, "What? Why?" And then he said, "Because she's witnessing and seeing you every single day, now laughing, now really, really happy, and always this positive thing. You know, what's going on? She's worried about you. Tell me one thing, are you taking drugs?" And I said, "Dad, what are you talking about?" And he said, "Are you taking drugs? Tell me right now, are you taking drugs?" I said, "Dad, no, I'm not." He said, "Well, why are you so happy all the time?" And I was like, what is going on? And I don't know if you've ever had these moments before where when you suddenly change, and especially when you get into like the law of attraction, or you get into The Secret, or you start becoming more conscious and aware of how life is and what happiness is, or living in the now, or even the personal development world in terms of success, and you feel you can do it, you believe in yourself. But then for some reason, the closest people around you are the people who that point just never gets across to them, and you don't know what it is. For some reason, you can go out there, you can speak to your friends about it, you can speak to some individuals about it, and they'll get you. They'll be like really excited for you. And then it's the closest people around you, that point, that message just doesn't get through to them, and you don't know what to do. Because at those times, you feel a lack of support. You feel like, why is it that the people I love most, they don't support what I'm doing? They don't understand me. And I really wanted to share this story with you today, is because it was a journey and a very significant part of my journey, which allowed me to grow a lot and understand how to actually get through situations like this. And the first thing was, you know, Dad always told me, he said, "Make money and you'll be successful, Eric." And so I made money, and so much that I was, you know, driving an Aston Martin, bought my first Aston Martin at the age of 24, bought a private yacht, bought a house on the water. And to a lot of people, it was like, you're living the life. And I didn't know what to do at that time because I was stuck in a restaurant working like 12-hour, 13, sometimes 15-hour days. And people were looking at me saying, Eric, you're really successful. You're making a lot of money. And I used to look at myself, think, what's life all about? You know, I'm like doing the same thing day in, day out, slaving my whole life away. I don't really enjoy this. And it got so far that I actually fell into deep depression. Got to a point where I was kind of like, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, what's the point in life? What's the purpose? I don't know if you guys have ever asked that question before. And it was actually one significant turning point that allowed this whole shift to happen, which was a friend, her name's Lisa, and she asked me at the time, she said, Eric, she said, come on a volunteer trip with me out to Africa. And I said, no, I said, why would I want to do that? And then I remember going out and I was drinking that night with some of my close friends. And I said to them, I said, Lisa asked me to go on a volunteer trip out to Kenya. And then they said, Eric, don't go. I said, why? He said, it's really dangerous. You know, I heard the word dangerous. I called Lisa up straight away and I said, Lisa, I'm coming with you. That's the place I was at that time, you know, making money and didn't know what life was about. And then when I went over there, I didn't realize the first thing I would see is the kids playing there, mud huts, shanty towns, and they had no food, no clothes, no nothing, but they had the biggest smiles I've ever seen in my life, the most beautiful smiles I've ever seen in my life. And I fell in love out there with these kids and with actually the act of contribution. And so when I did that, that's when I actually started Age Giving. I know some of you have been asking about the charity. I set this up around, I think 7 years ago now. All the information, by the way, we've got a volunteer trip. I don't know if any of you like volunteering, but we've actually got a volunteer trip in a few months' time. And every year I've been going back for 7 years, and we've got a piece of land out there. I've got my school out there, my orphanage, and we just play our part, you know, and it's been a very significant center point of all of what we do, you know. And I set that up. And now 7 years on, I look back and I think, wow, isn't it crazy how yesterday I was talking about connecting the dots looking backwards, how sometimes by pushing yourself outside of that comfort zone, setting yourself out of context, it can open up a whole new opportunity, a whole new world to new possibilities. And now there's hundreds of kids alive today because of our foundation, you know? So it's a real, like, big part of my life. And that's why when I came back, that moment, that month, I came back to the UK and I said to my parents, I said, Mum, Dad, I said, I found the purpose in life. And they said, what are you talking about? I said, it's all about giving, it's all about helping people. And notice, there was a big dramatic shift from depressed Eric suddenly to being like crazy and hyped up and super positive and thinking I found the missing piece, the jigsaw, the final piece of the jigsaw to life. So then they got really, really worried at that time. And the reason behind this is because for most people, change doesn't really happen. We get so stuck in this society and the way things should be or shouldn't be. And we get confined within these boundaries of what life can only be. And when we're stuck in there, people don't accept change. And now this is the majority out there. And so when we shift, it freaks them out, it scares them. It's not because they don't care. It's not because they don't support. It's because they don't know how to support, because they've been conditioned by society for so long that that is not the norm. And so when things like that happen, what can you do? How do you face it? And what made my life change? And what made it to the point where today, Mum and Dad are my biggest fans, you know? Whenever I post anything on Facebook, they're always first to like and first to share, and it's beautiful. And I know for them, I'm like a trophy to them, you know? They're always very proud and put my stuff everywhere. And how did that transition actually happen? It started to happen when I let go and I detached with my need to actually change them. You changing yourself is totally fine. And always accept that the moment you change, there will be chaos. There is no new order. New order cannot be formed without chaos first. So there might be arguments. There will be people who don't get you. There will be like either relationship breakups or a loss of friendship or things like this. And this happened within my journey. But it's only because they care, and it's only because they only know what they know. They don't know what they don't know. So they don't know any better to how to support you. But your best way is to not try talk the talk. The biggest problem when a lot of people change is they try to convince everybody around them that they've changed, that life is so great, that there's another side of the rainbow, you know? But instead of talking the talk, you don't need to talk, you don't need to justify, you don't need to try and change people. What do you do instead? You let success make the noise. This is what I believe in today. You know, talk is cheap. You don't need to go out there trying to change everybody. When you change yourself, you take yourselves to those new heights, those new levels. Nobody can deny you. Nobody can say that's the wrong way. So you make results and make success make the noise. Everything else around you starts to shift and it starts to be aligned with your journey. And that's what I believe in. You know, sometimes the power is in not speaking. Guys, I don't know if you enjoyed this story or whether it's been of use to you at all. If it has, comment below. Let us know your story, or let us know if you can connect to any parts of that or if it's been of any help. And also make sure to hit the thumbs up. Oh, also another thing as well. Some of you have been asking a lot of questions every single day on my YouTube videos. I am doing a live Q&A this Sunday on my Facebook channel. Okay, so I'm no longer doing Q&A on YouTube. It's going to be on Facebook, Eric Ho Official. Make sure to follow that now. Hit that notifications button. There's like a C first so that you get notified the moment I go live. Ask your questions in there. It's going to be 8 a.m. UK time. I'm currently in Slovakia, so I think we're 1 hour ahead. It's going to be 9 a.m. here. But we're going to have like around half an hour to an hour. It's because I actually have an event here in Slovakia this weekend. So it's going to be pre-event, then I go on stage straight after the Q&A. So if you have any questions, make sure to just write it down, keep it for Sunday, and tune in 8 a.m. on the Eric Ho official page on Facebook, and I'll be there to answer all your questions. And finally, those of you who are new to this channel, remember, if you enjoyed this video or if it's been of any use, hit that subscribe button and the notifications button next to it, because this year I'm dedicated to making daily videos with positivity, spirituality, business, anything that will keep you inspired and keep you on track to make 2018 your best year yet. But for now, guys, ciao.